0-2 start. Going on the road. Minnesota. NFC Championship team last year. Team that's undefeated, I guess. 1-0-1. 16.5-point underdogs. It's a tall task. But Josh Allen is taller. I'm fired up. You should be fired up too. I guarantee you're fired up. How about them Bills on Sunday? The Buffalo Bills, 16.5-point underdogs. Scored the game-winning points 4 minutes and 59 seconds into the first quarter. That's it. They won by 21, which in terms of the spread means they won by 37.5. I know the spread is just a spread, but like, come on. What a day. Just what a day. Overall, a perfect day, really, for Buffalo Bills football. I mean, I talked myself into believing that they had a chance on Saturday. So I was sitting with some friends, and they laughed at me, and you know who you are. And that sort of continued throughout the day. And then Saturday night when I got home, I even tweeted about this. I was laying in bed at 3:30, like thinking about ways the Bills could win, and that not necessarily. I don't mean that. I didn't mean it in like what could possibly go wrong for the Vikings. Really, I meant like, all right, how can we win this game tomorrow? And lo and behold, kudos to Josh Allen, kudos to Sean McDermott, to Brian Dable, to Leslie Frazier. Everybody deserves kudos for that performance on Sunday. Obviously, the Bills beat the Vikings 27-6. It was unbelievable, really. The Bills were up 27-0 at halftime, and they coasted. The Bills, as 16.5-point underdogs, were coasting in the second half. And granted, I know I obviously don't expect the Bills to blow everybody out of the water. Obviously, it's not very realistic, but I mean, it was just so nice to see. And like Josh Allen's second career start, he is hurdling people. He is running, escaping the pocket, throwing to the sidelines beautifully. Now, like the number one criticism that I heard, I guess, would be that he wasn't really completing passes over the middle of the field. I don't care. I don't care, really. And I know that there's things to look at in this game. Like, oh, the turnovers obviously helped. Of course they did. And, you know, some people have opinions on being able to, you know, force fumbles and recover fumbles. I've heard, you know, WGR. And I'm really not critical of WGR, to be honest with you. I like their programming a lot. But, like, Mike Shope always talks about how it's pretty much luck to recover fumbles. And sure, maybe. But he agrees that it's skill to force them. And, like, guys like Jerry Hughes and Kyle Williams and Trent Murphy, like, they were unstoppable on Sunday. Like, when the defense plays like that and, like, it has the past 6 quarters, the Bills are going to be in games. Like, this is what I talked about last week. Like, from McDermott, like, show us that your defensive coach, show us that you can, you know, show us something on defense, because the first 6 quarters of the season were pretty putrid. I mean, to say the least. So, Leslie Frazier was calling the plays on Sunday. McDermott conceded that role back to him after he took over against LA in the second half against LA. And the Bills have now allowed 9 points in the last 6 quarters and scored 41. Since Vontae Davis retired, the Bills are outscoring their opponents 41-9. Before he retired, granted he didn't play the first game, they were getting outscored 75-9. I don't know. I wish I could tell you what the big difference is. I knew the defense was capable of this. I feel like a lot of us feel that way because they didn't really lose much. They replaced, you know, their second corner. They replaced the middle linebacker with a first-round pick, and you know they replaced defensive tackles with, you know, experienced defensive tackles and pass rushers with experienced pass rushers. Like, at no point did I think they were going to be worse. That's why the first 6 quarters of the season were so shocking to me. But like I said, we had seen it before. I even brought this up last week. Like, We had seen the Bills get throttled by the Jets and the Chargers and the Saints in all 3 weeks, and then you come back and shut down the Chiefs. Like, they're capable of this. I know that they can do this. Or play like this. And I am really eager to see if they can do more of it. Obviously, I touched briefly on Josh Allen. I got to really give a ton of credit to Brian Daboll, because I think he had the perfect game plan to attack Minnesota, and they weren't really successful running the ball. Josh Allen was, but Chris Ivory had 20 carries for like 56 yards. Shady was out, obviously. And they were just doing it with swing passes, which I talked about last week, and it's something I love to see. And, fakes, then they're faking screens and finding Jason Kroom wide open. Josh Allen almost hung, I know he had about 200 yards, 196 yards. But, he underthrows Foster on one, and then he hits Foster right in the hands on another, and then, Kelvin Benjamin's dropping touchdowns, and Kelvin Benjamin definitely needs to play better, don't get me wrong. But, holy moly, the guy almost threw for 275 yards, honestly. He didn't. Granted, he didn't. Almost isn't doing it, but I was impressed. I was impressed by Josh Allen. How can you not be? What's not to be? Criticize something. Comment. Hit me up in the comments. Criticize something. I can't come up with anything. Josh Allen threw 2 bad passes. One could have been a touchdown, but the Bills were up. They like I said, they coasted. Who predicted that? Who could have predicted the Bills would coast in Minnesota? Anyway, it's taken worst team in the league off the table for me. There's no way the Bills are the worst team in the league. There's no way they're picking number 1. I don't think. I know this is maybe a typical overreaction, but this is genuinely how I feel. Because you look at the schedule and you see at Green Bay again, difficult. But Tennessee, not really scoring points, but pretty solid on defense. Houston's 0-3. Indy is taking Andrew Luck out of games to throw deep passes from these Hail Marys. I don't know. Is 3-3 out of the question? Or, even 4-3, 3-4 after Indy? Is that out of the question? Then you're looking at New England, but then Chicago and the Jets, and going into Monday night. Monday night's week 8. Like I said, is 3-4, 4-3 out of the question? I don't think so at all. And I know a lot of people will be like, well, you need to be 4-3 because you got to beat New England. But whatever, we'll take it one game at a time. The Bills won soundly against Minnesota. It was so much fun to watch. It might be the most fun you have watching a game all year, but it's even more fun to watch it because of Allen and the excitement he brings to the game, the arm talent, the elusiveness within the pocket, the stepping up into the pocket. Oh man, he still held on to the ball a little bit too long a couple times. One time he paid for it with the fumble that they lost a ton of yards on it. But he just seems like it's 2 games into it. He seems like he gets it, and he has, like I said, the right head on his shoulders. He approaches the game with the right mindset. We got great leadership skills, and then the talent is there as well. So, definitely eager to see if that type of performance can carry over into Green Bay this week. Bill's still 9.5, 10-point dogs in Green Bay. Green Bay coming off a loss to the Redskins. And here's what I'll say on Green Bay. Green Bay seems like they might be distracted by other things other than the teams that they're playing, and those are real things. I don't know if, like I said, they're focused on the Bills exactly because they're so focused on the league and these roughing the passer calls because they've been victimized by the rule 2 weeks in a row. And Clay Matthews has one in every game, and in my opinion, he deserved the one against Chicago, but the last 2 were stupid, in my opinion, but it is what it is, I suppose. I just think that Green Bay might be a little, the Rodgers knee, they just might be a little bit distracted. That's not to say that they still have Aaron Rodgers. That's what makes, obviously, this situation so tough. Aaron Rodgers is hurt. He's hurting his knees, hurting his hamstring, probably overcompensating for his knee. He's not practicing all week, but he's still coming out on Sundays and slinging, really. They probably could have scored more points. I know that sounds weird. They could have scored more points against Washington. Lance Kendricks had a big drop. Randall Cobb had a big drop. There were opportunities there. Those guys let Rodgers down, to be honest with you. Mike McCarthy continues to let Aaron Rodgers down by not giving the ball to guys like Aaron Jones, who comes back, and maybe there are probably some stupid excuse for that, like, oh, we need to ease him back into play. Like, no, Aaron Jones is the best running back on the Packers, and he only got 6 carries on Sunday. And Jamal Williams had 5, and Ty Montgomery had 4. And granted, not that I think it's, when you have Aaron Rodgers, I think it's pretty appropriate to run the ball 15, less than 20 times per game, but you should probably give it to the best guy 15 of those. At least 12. Am I right? So, like I said, you know what you're getting with the Packers. It's Aaron Rodgers on offense. Devontae Adams, he averages about 10 targets a game. Randall Cobb averages about 9 targets a game. Jimmy Graham's getting about 6. Geronimo Allison about 6. He's been playing pretty well for them. Caught a long touchdown last week. The running backs get about 7. So, there's your 35 to 38 throws right there. Very talented. Very encouraged by Trey White on Stephon Diggs last week. I think that's a plus. I seriously think that's a plus matchup for the Bills, despite the fact that Aaron Rodgers is throwing the ball. Trey White, I think, has a, I don't want to say necessarily winnable, because it's winnable, yeah. I just don't want to be like, oh, Devontae Adams isn't scoring. Like, I feel like Trey White could get out of this with, like, Devontae Adams having, like, 4 for 42 and maybe a touchdown, that type of thing, which is fine by me. I liked Ryan Lewis's game last week, despite the fact that, Adam Thielen ended up with, like, 14 catches for 105 yards. The Vikings only had 92 yards going in to the fourth quarter, and then they just slinging like this, and most of it was underneath, and like I said, 14 catches for like 105. That's crazy. Like, everything he caught was like 7 yards here, 6 yards here, until the game was seemingly out of reach late in the fourth quarter. So it's I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm talking myself into, like, picking the Bills here, and I don't know if I'm ready to do that because, like I said, it's still Aaron Rodgers. They have the ultimate trump card. He's the ultimate trump card to me because I think he's the best player at the position in the league. I think he's better than Brady. I think he's better than Brees. And I think he's better than Rivers. And, he's definitely better than Cousins. Like, these are the guys you've played so far. His injury might play a factor. They have injuries on the team. Nick Perry has a concussion. Don't know his status. Josh Jones has an ankle injury and hasn't been playing. And Kevin King might not play. And Muhammad Wilkerson's out for the season. And they just signed Rashad Breeland to play corner. Tremont Williams isn't playing that well. Kentrell Bryce is not good at safety. Clinton Dix is. They're missing Jake Ryan. They still have the Mike Daniels and the Clay Matthews and Blake Martinez. These are nice players. They've got nice players. Some nice players. I just think the Bills are going to find themselves an opportunity where they can score, but the other team has Aaron Rodgers. So it's like, hey, you can get your points, but they're going to outscore you because they have the best player in the league. Like the Vikings, I feel like they're going to beat you because they have defense and not necessarily with a ton of offense. So that's why it was so surprising for the Bills to go in there and score all those points. Granted, turnovers played a big role. So let's see what Josh Allen can do for an encore. What Brian Dable can do for an encore. Hopefully LaShawn McCoy can play. Looks like he's going to get some practice time in. Hopefully Shaq Lawson can come back. Looks like he's going to get some practice time in. Keep rotating there. I definitely down with Ryan Lewis at corner again. Let's see it, defense. This is a real test to me. I'm going to pick the Packers still to beat the Bills. I'm going to say like 24-17 Packers. Just think, again, I've said it like 3 times. Aaron Rodgers is a trump card. And hopefully I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. Make me eat my words again. But I can't wait for Week 5. I can't wait for it to come back home against Tennessee, honestly. Guys, thank you for coming this far in the video. Enjoy your weekend. And above all else, go Bills.